have you join us on TVC Breakfast. On this corner now, we're taking a look at the headlines on the papers, and we have joining us Ambrose Igboke as well as Okenna Nebedum. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the paper review.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's run through. INEC differs with Buhari over death for ballot box snatchers, and the INEC chairman is saying the position of the commission is that all violators of the Electoral Act should be punished according to the provisions of the law. And the presidency is saying that the PDP plotting to snatch ballot boxes, okay? And if we move from the Punch newspaper to the Daily Times, the headline here says ballot box snatchers will be punished legally. INEC boss is saying that and says no INEC commissioner invited by DSS polls to hold in Borno State. And Atiku Secondus charged military to ignore Buhari's shoot-at-sight order. If we move from there to this day says in new video, Buhari appeals to voters to turn out on Saturday. He meets security chiefs, IG warns ballot box snatchers, and Defense Headquarters says we will be guided by the Constitution. And Yakubu is saying offenders should be punished according to law. The Daily Trust is the next paper here now that says exclusive on why Saturday election failed. INEC ready for February 23, and materials arrive in all states and card readers ready to go. That's on the Daily Trust. Now let's get into some of the details of the headlines. And if you go to this day, well, one of the stories that might interest you, Ambrose, I will bring here is the protest. On the page 10, it talks about the protest in London for Leah Sharibu as it clocks 1 year after her abduction.
It's unfortunate. I think there have been some quiet because of the political activities that have been going on. But it should not be pushed under the background, and we are happy that people are protesting and bringing it again to the fore. The girl has to be released. We have to deploy all the public relation and diplomatic tacts that we can to ensure that the girl is released back to her family.
Okay, now, do you think that the momentum for Leah Sharibu back home is waning?
It's waning.
Sure.
Sure.
Sure it is. Nigeria has engaged itself in an election season, and the election soundbite has drowned whatever remains of the hope of the family getting their daughter reunited to them. It is not necessarily their expectation now alone as a family, but one injustice out there to any Nigerian citizen is an injustice to all of us. Yeah. So we feel the pain that Nigerian government has not taken it as a priority to get their youth, the young ones, their citizens reassured that Nigeria will stand for you at points like this.
Ambrose, what do you think when it comes to, because we spoke with Leah Sharibu's father, and he was saying that apart from the time the president called his wife to, you know, extend condolences, and then 3 ministers were sent to their home, after that, they've not been hearing anything from the government, so they don't know what is going on.
Well, that just underscores what is the value of life of an average Nigerian. What value does the government attach to lives? That even government officials will come out and say only 60 people died. You know, this is when even one life matters. So apart from Leah Sharibu, let's remember that there are other girls there, from the Chibok girls, from the Dapchi girls, there are some other girls. So what has been happening to all those people being adopted? The government needs to act quickly.
All right, let's move to the Daily Trust now. There's a story on page 4 which concerns the latest killings in Kaduna State. The governor, Rufai, came out to say that, well, there were 66 people who died, and now he's saying it is 130 people. Okay, now.
We've not had 66 proved, and the number is rising to 100 plus. The government should stop reeling out numbers that would paint the picture out to the diplomatic environment that Nigeria is under some form of invasion by its own, and in its own territory. It is really very saddening that on the eve to the election, the governor himself came out and read out the figures without facts, without evidence to prove. The civil society organization has taken him up on that, and we are very anticipatory of what comes out from the investigation going on.
Ambrose, what do you think is very controversial, on this issue? 100, even 66 people killed in a place, and then you ask questions and a lot of people say, well, we have not heard that story. Now it is 130. 130 people die in a certain place, and there is no, a lot of people knowing about it.
I think our leaders should deploy more tact when they are revealing, because there's some sensitive information you need to be careful in reeling out. How will you come to reel out figures on the eve of an election? What are you trying to achieve? To stoke up embers of hatred, to stoke up tension, and to make people commit reprisal attacks? Is that it? So we should be more circumspect in what we say.
All right. Ambrose Igboke and Okenande Bedum, thank you, gentlemen, for coming. Thank you very much. Thank you.